Okay, well, season 4. Welcome back. Hey everyone. This is season 4 of Geeking Out, where a bunch of random folks get together and talk about whatever hell they geeking out about at this point in time. My name is Ricky Z. I am on social media as Ricky Z underscore social. I'm the podcast manager and podcast producer on this show. And I'm so excited for us to kind of get back into this. We were out on hiatus for the longest time. Like, our sister show Scream Kings is literally about to have a third season soon. So we went through like 2 seasons and a special during the summer. And now we're finally back for season 4. So before we dive into our show, I want to introduce some new faces that we have right here. So let's start with man on top, Lucio. Introduce yourself.
Oh, did I fall asleep? That's you guys. Yeah, so my name is Lucio. My background's in sciences. I also do a bit of writing, sometimes in that order. Current favorite fandom, or my favorite fandom, I really like a lot of animation, a lot of science fiction, but man, Avatar: Last Airbender, tops. Current media I'm interested in, I've been watching Resident Alien with my daughter, and we plowed through like a season and a half in like 2 days.
Aw, I love family bonding on things that we can geek out on. So yes, thank you, Lucio, for being here tonight and for being our new cast member. All right, Akil, introduce yourself. Oh, Akil, you muted, I think. Yeah, you muted. There you go. Try again. Try again, Akil. You're still muted.
Still muted.
I swear y'all punking me because I'm not touching anything.
What is life without hazing?
So I don't know.
Welcome.
I don't even want to talk about hazing. But I'm AK the Great One. By day, I am a human resource professional. So I have to deal with the facts and policies and procedures and what's going on in real time. So this is a cool little escape to kind of push that out and focus on stuff that I actually enjoy. What I'm geeking out now, I am an avid WWE fan, so that's always going to be on the TV in the forefront. Just finished Interview with the Vampire season 2, a couple of shows, so anything dark, Marvel related, or spooky and haunted, that's my jam now.
Justice for real, Rashid. That's all I gotta say about that. Justice for real, Rashid. From Interview with the
He
Vampire. Rashid was
got what
trying to
he
do his
had coming.
job. Rashid was trying to do his job, and then Malloy just would not get off his neck. He was trying to do his job for real. Now Armand, on the other hand,
Messy Malloy. I love him.
and next we have Cam.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm Cadence, known as Cam to most, but Cadence to those of you online. I geeking out. Something I'm loving right now. Super Sale was really good. Just recently watched that. Kaiju number 8. I'm really big on anime, so you might get a lot of anime out of me. Kaiju number 8 has been an amazing watch for fresh new anime. And also, what else have I been watching? Demon Slayer, and it's another anime that I've been watching that's been really, really good this season. Can't remember, I'm drawing a blank. But fandom wise, one of my favorite fandoms is Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of the top game RPG series with a solid story. Like it's a lot going on in it. Like it's easy to get lost in Kingdom Hearts lore, but it has been something that's been amazing to me from when I was a teenager to now, and still enjoy it to this day. So yeah, that's my favorite fandom.
We want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Oh, there's an echo. Joining us and being new members of our show. I really appreciate you guys being here. So, as you can see, we're missing some 2 people. We're missing our friends Julian and Jermaine. So while we were on hiatus, we try to get back together and figure something out. But sometimes after a long break, you got to go to separate ways. So we wish them all the best and all the things that they do. And we love them, we miss them, and so hopefully we'll get to have them come back on sometime soon.
Jenna, no.
Didn't know.
Oh.
This person next to me been getting on my nerves for the last year, but I love him anyway. Come on.
Surprise, bitch. Thought you see the last of me. Hey, everybody. I am Tamon Kane. I am here back. Here with Geeking Out. You can find me at Tamon Kane on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And of course, you can see me on my show, Scream Kings, talking about everything horror that you can possibly think about. And that is my area of expertise. And I am a Hollywood scooper. So if you want some extra tea about things that are going on, I probably have the info on it.
All right, favorite fandom?
Horror.
Okay, be more specific. I know which one it actually is.
80s slashers, anything to do with witches and magic.
Okay, and then current media that has you in a chokehold.
Oh God, I'm off on sabbatical of watching things. Thank God, I've been watching. Actually, Supercell have me in the chokehold for over the last couple of weeks. I've watched it in the first couple of hours and been promoting it on social media. So if you haven't seen Supercell, it's a dope show on Netflix, basically heroes in the UK and Black. So check it out. That's what I'm geeking out about.
Nice. All right. And like I said earlier, my name is Ricky Z. I am an educator by day and podcast manager, producer by evening. My fandoms right now, I'm into anything supernatural, Vampire Diaries, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I recently just finished both seasons of Interview with the Vampire. I've been deep into Pretty Little Liars, Original Sin, and Summer School this summer. And then right now, the media that's got me in the chokehold right now is House of Dragons, mainly because of what just happened this previous episode yesterday, which it's halfway through the season now. I'm not sure how they're going to cover the book, the Song of Ice and or Fire and Blood, that book that it's supposed to be covering, and how much of it's really going to cover. So, it's been really interesting. But this last night's episode was really, really good. I'm not going to spoil it. I'll leave that alone for right now. And it looks like some of my castmates aren't really into it, so that's okay. That's fine, I guess.
Listen, Game of Thrones was my jam, and then I saw the first season of this show, and I was like, Actually, I saw the first couple of episodes, and I watched the YouTube when season 2 was getting ready to come out. And I saw the first couple of episodes. It's just not clicking for me. I don't know why I care.
And so the thing is, like, in preparation for this next season, I decided to rewatch all of Game of Thrones. It took me about a week to do, so I'm home for the summer. Yeah. Look, it's on in the background.
Shit for TV setup.
Well, I mean, like, it's on the big TV, and I just have it going. And if I miss something, it's probably because I'm asleep. But that one, like, I forgot how good the early seasons were of Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
That last season was something.
Yeah. All hail Joffrey. The true king.
See, you gotta go with that. We gotta go with that.
The true king.
No. All right, so what's so great about the show is that this is a live show. You can always make sure you follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, like, subscribe, share on social media. We're on Instagram and TikTok. Make sure that you click on the button that lets you know that we're about to be on the air. And also, if you're watching us right now, you can comment, share your thoughts about the show, and we'll even like put the comments up here. So, oh yes, and Twitch. Yes, I'm sorry, Billy Berserker, who's actually been watching the show from like the very beginning. Billy, hey, how you been?
Hi.
We've been on Twitch for the longest time, and it's been a long time since we've been on Twitch. So yes, if you are on any of those platforms and you're watching us live, feel free to comment your thoughts over the show, and we will most likely put it up on the screen. So before we get into our main topic for today, And for some people, it might be very random that we decided, or I decided I wanted to do this. But yes, it was very random, but I have my reasons. We're going to talk about the very short-lived sci-fi kind of thriller psychological series. It kind of is. It kind of is. Don't give me that face, Timon. Dollhouse. Starring Elijah Dusku. But before we do that, we're going to do a quick commercial break. And then we'll be right back. All right, Timon, tell us about that fun card game.
Absolutely. That is Killer Card Games. You can find it on Instagram at Killer Cards Games. We are the ambassadors here at Scream Kings, and so they sent us some versions of the games. It's a really cool, sort of like Clue, but it's more of a 80s slashers vibe. So it's a murder mystery trying to figure out who's doing what, where's doing what, and with what. Super fun time. So if you want to get a copy of that, check them out at Killer Card Game on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So as you can see, some of us are drinking, and sometimes we occasionally have these drinking games. Not necessarily saying that you have to drink with us, but we sometimes have a drinking game, and it's usually based on a word. You don't have your drink on you, Timon? For real?
Actually, it stays by my I was just seeing if I was gonna have me a chaser. I'm gonna be drinking it.
I know that's right.
I'm a gin guy for those who don't know that. But when we started our summer school special for Scream Kings, this was a new bottle.
Oh my gosh!
So, can you see it?
You can't see the green.
Yeah, it's about that much left.
Wow.
We been putting in work, baby. Putting in work.
So, I'm gonna take it easy on our new panelists for today, but if you feel so inclined, the magic word for today is either doll or echo. Either doll or echo. Take a sip. So, echo.
Salud.
Cheers.
Oh, I understand.
Thank you.
I understand.
Just now to sip my water.
And that's okay. And that is your right. So tonight's episode, we are talking about this show right here, Dollhouse, starring Elijah Dusku. This is another Joss Whedon television show. This premiered in February 2009. Only lasted for 27 episodes. It was canceled in November of 2009, and the final episode aired in January 2010. Basically about an organization that specializes in these actives, are also called dolls, and they would basically were hired out to do whatever activity, whether it could be like espionage, personal fun.
Sex work.
Yes.
And sex work is work, so we want to affirm people who
it is. It is, and I want to talk about that in a little bit because of the issues that there is with the creator of the show. Eliza Dushku was a producer. She got producer credits for the show. This was, let's see, Buffy ended in what? 2004, 2003.
I want to say
2003. So this was probably a few years after that. This aired on Fox Network, and it did not have the best time or slot for a show, particularly for a freshman show. And both seasons, it had 2 seasons. It was really more like a season split in half. I got balloons. But season split in half, so it was 13 for season 1 and 13 for season 2, with some really interesting episodes for their season finales. For some, like, I like those episodes. Why are you looking like that?
We're gonna get
Those-
into it.
Those
I
episodes.
interesting. How about you,
Now,
Vicky?
I just don't understand the direction we were moving in with those two end pieces of jumping to the future and not picking up. When you get to the end of season 2, it sort of helps with that, right? But it just felt like a throwaway thing to do at the time. But it was nice for them to pick back up.
I think it could have had something really cool to go to if they actually gave it a chance.
Yeah.
Before
it had a great concept.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely should have did something just a little bit different with it.
And honestly, that's my sentiments about the entire show.
Oh, all right. So when this show came out, I was in college, but I didn't watch it when it was on air. I watched it probably a year or two after it was canceled, and this was in the early phases of Netflix streaming. So that's where I started watching it. And the reason why I decided to watch this film or watch the show was because was someone that I was following on TikTok was like, I want to do a random rewatch of Dollhouse, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't watched in a long time, and I want to do it too. So while I was watching it, we were in the process of kind of getting our stuff ready for this season. I was like, you know what? I want to make you guys watch it too. You're gonna watch it with me, and you're gonna suffer with me, and talk about it. Look. Your face. All right, so like I said earlier,
that's worse.
No. Echo. Look, I'm not gonna be able to make it.
Oh wow!
Did I go to sleep?
Stop.
Only for a little while.
Only for a little while.
And it's interesting. What was actually, and I was, as I started watching, because I hadn't heard of it prior to you introducing it to us, what was prevalent going on during like 2009, 2010? Because when I watched the show, I'm like, wow, you can tell it was set in those, I don't want to date, it sounds weird to say, but set in those times. But I really couldn't really remember like what was really going on during that time frame to kind of shape some of the direction of the show.
You know, that's a good question. I've been trying to like search my brain for what was going on. Like I said, like I think I had like another year or two of college when it initially aired, and I honestly couldn't tell you what was going on. I remember the other thing that was probably going on was Glee. I couldn't tell you what else was going on during that time.
And I was all up on Glee.
Right.
I wanted to be on Glee.
Right.
The writer's strike happened in 2009.
There
Really?
was one at that time.
Yeah.
There have been hundreds. I mean, you know. But
how long did that last?
Was that the one that like really cut off some shows?
I don't know if it was that one. Let's see. That's around time with Heroes too, based off the fashion in this.
Yeah, so 2009. So like we had probably Heroes. We definitely had Lost.
Yeah, we did.
Friends was probably still
the
going.
Vampire Diaries, Nurse Jackie.
Yeah, Vampire Diaries just started.
The Misfits. I don't know if y'all seen that. It's a great show.
Yeah.
Another show I really like is a slasher TV show called Harper's Island with Katie Cassidy. It's a really good. It's good. It's every episode someone died, and they have like this huge marketing campaign trying to guess who would die in the next episode. So you should check it out. It's on Apple.
All right. So with this story, there is, like I said, there is the organization that has these actors or dolls where their entire personality memories are wiped by this computer system, and they are implanted with different personalities, actual people's personalities, which was the crazy thing, like real people's personalities, to suit the client's wants for whatever reason, and they would go out and do the job, and then come back, have their memory wiped, and they were basically like they're like dolls. They're basically very childlike, and it focuses on Eliza Dushku's character Echo, where we are probably more so at the end of season 1 and more into season 2. Learning about who she actually was before she became a doll, and like how did she get involved in the dollhouses. Yes.
Jesus.
Yes. And so her journey to being self-aware and all the other things that kind of comes like some of the not necessarily like pre-AI, but it was kind of like the woes of like letting technology doing a little too much. You can see that in some of those season finales that happened. So this show had mixed reviews and the ratings sucked.
I can understand.
I totally
can understand. This was actually my first watch of the show. So I went into this show knowing absolutely nothing. And in the beginning, I was like, okay, cool concept. I was really hoping that it was going more towards using dolls for actual espionage and things of that nature. Like, I wanted to see something more involved with the government on the government side and using them for different, tasks and things of that nature versus the occasional love interest and then something popping up with this whole scenario of the client. And it didn't go in the direction that I thought it would. And even in the second season, we ended the first season, I'm like, okay, great. So before we got to that finale, because that finale had me like, what did I just watch? Like, what? How do you just go here? We just jumped into the future? And what are you talking about? How did this cause a collapse? Why were they trying to imprint just any old? What was the goal? What was the goal? And I still don't know after watching the entire. I still have no clue.
And so, what was everyone else's initial reaction to the show?
It was also my first watch of the show, and I really bounced off. I was a little mad at you, Ricky, because I was like, "What the heck?" The very first episode. It's like this super rich guy's like, oh, I need to hire a doll to get to be my hostage negotiator. Or you're a multimillionaire, you just hire an actual hostage negotiator. That would probably be better and cheaper. Honestly, it wasn't until I'm looking at episodes right now. I think it was episode 11 where you find out who Alpha is. I was like, oh, that's a really cool twist. All right. Good thing it was 2 episodes at the end of the season. That's cool. It has what my favorite piece of writing feedback that has ever given as a joke, thank goodness, because it was, what if it was like this but better? Because that was kind of my opinion of most of the show. I really wanted to like it. It was a great idea, but man, it was just like, although I did really like the what are they called, the epitaphs, the 13th, the last episode of each season. I did like that. I think that is more that it's like a very interesting writing thing to do, to have to like, oh, we're gonna go see like what the end result of this whole entire thing could be, worst case scenario, and then kind of build the show toward those in season 2.
You know, I think that
build towards that.
Yeah,
I think you could, if they weren't placed where they were. If those episodes weren't placed where they were, I think you could build towards that.
I think that they clearly wanted more episodes, but so I think the idea being that like they were gonna use this technology to basically make like a subservient working class with like a very finite number of undying or I guess infinitely body hopping super rich people, and so they'd be like this ultimate ruling class with no chance for role because there's no, everyone else is a doll, everyone else is just a pawn.
We're just bodies for them to inhabit. Yeah. If you can afford it, we're just bodies for them to inhabit so they can live their lives forever. Like
yeah.
But initially they were trying. Initially, it was the guise of trying to cure different psychological diagnosis, like different psychological issues. That was like what a lot of the research was supposed to be geared towards, allegedly. And I thought that was cool too. And I'm like, oh, and it played with some things about. And this is a very interesting thing to imagine, but what crossed my mind when I was watching, like, oh, schizophrenia as a superpower. Like, essentially, like that's what was going on. Schizophrenia as a superpower, bunch of personalities in her head that she accesses, and that's where it ended up.
And even that didn't get interesting until season 2 when she really started to master those abilities. Now, I'm gonna be honest, this was a fun watch. I watched it when it first aired. I don't think I saw all of the second season when it first aired, but I did watch the first season. But coming back to watch it again, there were a lot of episodes that I was really invested in those side stories. Even the missions that Echo would go on. Take a sip, please. Even those missions that she would go on, I thought some of them was really great, and I have a couple of them written down when it's time. In season 2, when they were doing the army. And one of the guys, I can never remember his name. He's just the one who everybody loves. He gets kidnapped, and then they do like this hive mind, and then she has to take this little injection in the back of her head, and she becomes part of the hive mind. And then she gets this psychic ability to control them. I was like, see, now you're leaning into what this show could really become, because you even I'm going to call him Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, but he's the smartest guy.
Yes.
Shaggy. He was like, telekinesis.
Topher.
Yeah, Topher. He was like, even if you want to have telekinesis, I probably could program that. I was like, now we're talking about what this show could become.
Although I can say that I was kind of invested in Victor and Sierra's little love story. Like, that was interesting to me. That was really sweet. Just like, regardless of even whatever actives they had or whatever personality they had, they were consistently drawn to each other.
Yeah,
I think that they should have dived into that more, though. Like, what makes these different things so special? They're grouping, but why are they grouping? Like, let's unpack that. Okay, and what is it that makes Echo so special?
That she could start that journey of being self-aware. Yes,
but they got into that a little. They touched on that a little bit in season 2, but not enough. But even when they were in that dreamscape. Well, when they were in the attic, right? That was when I was like, okay, this show is getting really different, and I like it.
So good, yeah.
And so when they were in the attic, and Sierra was like, we're just as special as you. We've been through all these things. Yes, all of you are special. So now let's unpack that. And it's something about her genes, Echo's genes.
Yes.
Something in her spinal fluid lets her do something. She has the X gene, and then Nick Fury came and recruited her.
You got that WAP, whatever's going on.
Akil, what was your initial impression of the show?
When I first watched, and like most everyone else today, that was my first time watching it, hearing about it. So after the first episode, I'm like, okay, and I wrote down some notes. It gives me Matrix vibes, meets a pimp, an assassin, sex worker, mother, babysitting. This is before I start to put together that, they was taking on different personalities. I'm like, man, 1 week she's doing this, the next week she's doing that. So it was very Matrix to me. And that's kind of where I got excited, because I'm like, okay, are they self-aware of what they're actually doing or going through? But they actually weren't. And the fight scenes were good, but then there was just some lulls that was like, okay, I don't understand why that's here, but maybe it'll get back. So it's like it jumped. But like y'all said, it was pretty much these rich people having money to do different things. Now, I did get vested. I think that was, I can't remember if it was the first or second episode, with the guy with the bow and arrows. He basically, he had his way with her, wired her down, and then like, okay, I'm gonna give you a head start, so you got to go. And she's like, what? And that was interesting. That took a turn. So I wouldn't, and I'm just gonna be completely honest, I wouldn't say it had potential but it just kind of like, I don't know, it just went other places that I didn't expect.
And the thing is, though, it didn't have. The thing is, it couldn't afford to really have filler episodes. So like that's kind of the issues that we have right now with some of our shows that we have that are on direct streaming, where they're only like 8 to 10 episodes. This one only had 13 episodes per season. You don't have enough time to give like a filler episode. You need to get to
maximize your time.
And most of this show was filler episodes. They really could have one season of 13 episodes and it'd be solid.
And like I said earlier, like that first, like it really could have been just one whole season because it was only 26, 27 episodes all together. That's a typical season back then.
Today, yeah.
If you want to see this concept fleshed out in a nice project, check out Westworld. It's basically the same concept.
That's true.
Westworld is absolutely amazing. Same thing. Yeah, you're just not really taking over someone's body, but it's robotics and it's life, and people are using these to preserve their life, live out their fantasies, all the things. And they even get into abilities and stuff like that later on in the show. But I thought Dollhouse was fun. It just had a lot of problems. It was very problematic.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me that I liked, that it was about consent. And I thought they worked on that theme heavily throughout both seasons.
Yeah. Now, for me, my initial thought, now granted, this was back in probably 2010, 2011 when I watched it. And I was just kind of searching for something to binge watch at the time. So I've already, I've gone through my usual stuff. I had just watched Firefly for the first time by that point, and watched Serenity, and so I was trying to find something else that was, I mean, like it's not the same, it's not necessarily the same thing, but it's by the same creator. And so if you've been a Buffy fan and Angel fan, you've over the last probably 15, 20 years, you've put a lot of trust in Joss Whedon and his content, regardless of how they fared outside of Buffy and Angel. Because I'm sorry, but outside of Buffy and Angel, his other shows haven't been able to.
That's fair.
Last long.
I've never seen Firefly, but I know it has a cult following.
It does.
We just watched Serenity,
man. I don't think I remember. I remember Serenity. I think.
I know we watched Serenity.
Okay, yeah, I didn't watch Firefly. It was nice to see my Angel and Buffy castmates pop back up in this show.
Right.
Wes, Faith's Watcher, came in, and that was one of my favorite episodes.
Amy Ackers, who was on Angel.
Yes.
Quite a few, like
The Gifted.
The Gifted. Oh my goodness, was she on this show?
I like that show.
No, she wasn't. But a lot of sci-fi not royalty, but our main stay sci-fi actors, sci-fi TV show actors were on the show. They kind of keep a check if it's a Joss Whedon show.
Yeah, he does cast typically the same people for the most part.
Yes, I agree with Billy Berserker.
Now, well, let me pose a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that if it had been on a different network, say the CW, or was it CW at that time, or was it UPN, or
it was about the because it would have been the end of UPN or WB, or it would have just transitioned into CW.
Okay,
because it was
so
2009.
They have
Red Hours.
Okay. So do you think if it was on that channel, kind of in that sci-fi sweet spot that CW normally does, it may have had a longer life than Fox? Because Fox is like, if we ain't seeing those numbers, you got to go.
That's a good question. Mainly because at that time, the CW still had some holdovers from WB and UPN. So they still had things like Gilmore Girls and One Tree Hill, I think. Vampire Diaries, Vampire Diaries, and maybe Smallville, where
Oh yeah.
where like the first Billy says that CW started in 2008, so maybe it could have lasted.
I don't think so. I think the quality is is the problem with the show, and the showrunner, they did a different one because it doesn't make any sense. Like on paper, as far as like the episodes and the message and what you're trying to convey for one season, what you want your audience to be left with. At the end of season one, I was just like, okay, I wanted season 2 so I can actually know what I just watched season 1 for.
Yeah, and I thought we were getting there, like the way. And then when I got to the end of season 2, and I realized I don't know if I like the idea of giving the preseason finale as a season finale to a different season without giving us some sort of understanding that, okay, yeah, we're ending here, but I promise we're going to pick back up where we are and get us back to this point. Without knowing that, I was really, for half of the season, which is only 13 episodes, half of the second season, I was waiting like, okay, well, why do we watch this finale in season 1?
No, maybe what if they had turned both the epitaph episodes into like a Serenity, where you have the first few seasons and like those actual episodes on one thing, like they did with Firefly, and then they took those epitaph episodes and made it into a movie. Like, I feel like that would have been a better alternative. I think it would have been a good layout for a movie. Those 2 episodes.
I think if they were going to get a season 3, it should be in the future. It would in that future time. They should have been working up to that moment and dealing with consent and then dealing with AI and technology and morality. They were already doing all those things, and season 2 was doing good work actually. With saying this company wants this for these reasons, these nefarious reasons. So they have this part of the company who has a military branch. This other one with this girl with this dead ass hand. She's working with them trying to get this other house together. And so like they were building those things that we needed to see what the future could look like. And then with Shaggy, they started breaking into his technology. I was like, okay, now we're moving. So let's do a time jump and then work our way backwards. But we didn't have enough time with 13 episodes. And by that point,
so I read somewhere that apparently the 13th episode, so Epitaph 1, wasn't even originally aired. It was just added as part of the DVD release.
And now you can watch it.
Which is, I think, I really enjoyed those, but it's weird to be like, oh, you didn't even get the. But you know what, though? Like,
show what could have been.
But it's one of those things, like when they aired Firefly, they aired the episodes out of order and like put them in weird time slots and kept shifting around. Like, okay, well, like, how are you supposed to build fan base? And I think, who was it? I think Billy just wrote that, if you have to watch the things in order, you miss an episode, you're out of luck.
I think that could have worked for like maybe like the first 2 or 3 episodes of season 1, where you're not getting too deep into echoes or to the dolls like backstories at all. You're just kind of getting like a taste of what the dolls are doing. But afterwards, if you've missed an episode, you're missing a lot.
In this show?
I think enough for you to want to continue to watch it at the time that it came on, but prior to streaming.
In real time.
In real time, I think that would be hard to do.
Oh yeah, well, I think this show you can just pick up on any episode, and because it's almost like not a monster of the week, but a mission or a thing of the week with very little tie-ins to an overall arching theme, which will hurt it too. Like the world building was awful in this show. But like, if you just jumped in and watched the episodes, like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's about spy chicks who's brainwashed and she can do these different things and plug it to the Matrix, as Akil said, and get her uploads. And next subject, next episode.
I mean, they tried to build that world and that lore with giving us, everybody, the whole public knows about the conspiracy theory of the dollhouses and. You know, it's just an urban legend. It's an urban myth. And they actually had an episode where they had like people on the street giving like confessionals or like what do you think about them? What do you think about this conspiracy theory of the dollhouse? You know, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know, they just didn't.
Even
They
with
didn't put energy behind it for me.
even with Faith's Watcher as the guy running for office. Well, he was already in office, right?
Right.
He was getting ready to go hard on this organization. That Manchurian Candidate theme could have really worked for this show, and with that actor to like keep going forward, because that's the area. Okay, let's uncover what's going on. It's really a skit, and that was actually a good episode because that switcheroo, that mislead, that misdirect with. It's not
Yes.
his fiance's wife. It's actually him. I was like, bravo. That was good work.
Beautiful plot twist. Because I was really shook. I was like, oh, it worked.
Now, let me tell you something. When Elijah Dushku beat her ass, I was dying over here.
Getting my life.
Now, that's one thing my girl gonna do. She go twirl, and if she got a robe, she got to fight. She gonna nail it.
Look, you gonna get her in a fight scene.
Mm-hmm. And she's good.
Right, she's good.
And that's why I want to see. That's why I would love to see her in more stuff.
Every time I know the next person to get hit in this scene is the first person that the person that pulls out a gun. They're never gonna use that gun. They're gonna get hit. They're gonna get clocked. It's just a tiny club.
You clocked. Yeah.
It's useless. Useless guns.
They say if you're not gonna use it, don't pull it out. That's what the people say.
Come on, Jedi.
So many people should have been shot. Just like double tap someone in the legs, and then you're good.
Yes. Pull out a gun to threaten you. I'm gonna shoot you. Okay.
So I have to say, like that, I think my main draw to this show was Eliza Dushku. Loved her as Faith, another Joss Whedon character in Buffy. I love the growth of Faith that she had, even for her very short time on both Buffy and Angel. And I think Eliza Dushku is a bit of a gem. I think she had a lot more potential than she was given. And I know there were some things that went on for her that she talks about later on in like her life. But I think that she had a potential to do really well. I think she probably would have done really well on a CW show for the long haul.
Hell yeah.
You know, if she had been on the CW from the get-go, she'd be one of those actors that would always have a job on that channel until the very end because they recycled them folks.
You tell me you can see her as an original, please.
Oh my goodness.
Easily. She couldn't have been Rogue in the X-Men.
I would have loved to have seen her knock Elena Gilbert out one good time. You know? Oh yeah. That's somebody's fanfic right there. Somebody write that.
Haley Marshall, yeah, she could have done that.
Ooh, that would have been cool.
Down, she could have been Haley.
Yeah, she would have ate that up.
She would have ate that down.
Now I'm getting mad.
Now I'm upset. You already know how I get upset about it.
And I love the actress who plays Haley. I love her in most things.
So potential was gone.
But Elijah with Klaus?
Shut up. Man, we're gonna pour one out for that. Okay.
And how old is that for a former vampire slayer now to be an original vampire?
A hybrid.
Fire. Or as Haley, a hybrid. Fire.
A hybrid. Ooh.
That would be dope.
We lost.
Yeah.
We lost.
That would be dope.
And if you've seen her now, she's gorgeous.
She is
absolutely gorgeous. And she was in a horror movie called Wrong Turn.
What?
Yes.
She ate it up.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she was.
Bring It On. Everyone remembers that great movie.
Yes.
Yes.
I feel like Elijah was playing Faith and Bring It On too.
Yeah.
But what I appreciate in Dollhouse was that due to the nature of her character, she had to kind of change up her she kind of had to give you something different. She had to give you a little bit more layers to things. She couldn't just play the hard ass, the badass, the girl from the wrong tracks, like she had been in like the two bigger works that she's done. Like she could easily be typecasted.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think with Dollhouse, I think you gave her opportunity to actually like play something different multiple times throughout that show.
I'd almost imagine that's exactly why she took the role, like to really show, like I can give you I can give you any personality you need. What you talking
I can
about?
be soft and demure. I could be a hard ass. I could
I can
be.
be a
She was
love.
a dominatrix in one episode.
Yeah. The episode where she had the baby and it wasn't her baby, it was in season 2.
Devastating.
She had some good ass episodes. When she went
Yes.
after the baby, I was like, Elijah, you are doing this this scene. Controversial thought. Do we think that Sarah Michelle Gellar could play this role too? And would that have been a nice progression after Buffy to move to this, like Elijah? It's versus Elijah.
Do I think she could have done it? Yes. Do I think that I would have loved her as much as I do Elijah in it? Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, but also, like, let's see. Besides Dollhouse, like Elijah's had True Calling, and not many other series that are strictly hers. And then Sarah's had like a couple of one-offs, a couple of
get canceled.
One season's Ringer. I actually like Ringer.
I love the Ringer.
That was a good one. I don't know why they can't. That
was her fault. She decided not to come back because she was pregnant.
Oh,
again.
Well, damn. So I was, like things. I'm not sure though. Like, because honestly, I think sometimes that Sarah kind of gets typecasted too, in some way.
When I think
it's
of
the '90s girl, it's the '90s actress, TV show actress. We could pick any one of those, like Cordelia, Charisma Carpenter could have been on this show. Maybe not as Echo, but definitely as a doll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, what else does like when I think of Sarah Michelle Gellar, the most recent thing I think that not most recent, but one of the things I think of is like, oh, she was Daphne in Scooby Doo, and that's still like, that's still like that up and kind of bubbly character.
She was in a Paramount Plus show with werewolves.
Wolfpack.
I actually liked it, and they canceled it after the first season. I started to get invested in it, but
and then they did a pilot for Cruel Intentions, a TV show,
for the second time.
Yes, she was in. I think she reprised her role in that, and they
chop
that one.
Chop. And she had the show with
when they work with
Robin Williams.
The comedy with Robin Williams that was actually and they got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't fun. I remember when he debuted. I was excited. It wasn't fun.
And but I think he passed shortly afterwards, didn't he?
That was it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like she's had little like one-off things here and there, and like she hasn't. I mean, no, I love Sarah Michelle Gellar getting down like
forever.
But I don't think the things that she's been in, they haven't been able to take off like Buffy.
She's the angel of death of TV shows.
I hate that.
They all get canceled. Sorry.
Wow.
And I'm a huge Sarah Michelle Gellar fan.
Love her down. Helen Shivers, rest in peace.
Thank you. Not the range. Wait a minute, Billy. Now we've always been good.
So Billy says, I don't think Sarah Michelle has nearly the range. Love her when she was with Robin Williams, but I don't see her doing the variety that Echo required. I don't know.
Buffy Halloween episode when she was Little Red Riding Hood or whatever she was. Helen Shivers, Buffy herself, Daphne, all sound like doll episodes to me.
I think because some of those characters have some similar essence to them. Whether it's like they have kind of with the exception of her character, because even like her character in Cruel Intentions had a similar essence to it when she was playing that when she was playing the role of like good Christian private school girl. So she was playing even with Catherine was playing like her good girl role. There's a similar essence to some of those characters, to Daphne, to Buffy, to Helen.
Kendall Kane on Young and the Restless too. Like she nailed being a bitch on screen very early in her career.
So I don't know. I think we just haven't had the opportunity to really for her to be able to do that.
Well, Sarah?
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I don't know. I mean, the thing I can think of was The Ringer. I didn't watch it, but that show lasted longer than the other stuff she was in after that.
And the wrinkle was
Didn't it?
good, and she looked good.
Yeah. I was actually upset
Yeah.
about that one. I was
Me
actually
too.
wanting her to lie.
And I'm sorry, Akil, but Wolfpack, we were all just there to see what's special about Sarah Michelle Gellar. When we found out the show was no longer interesting for me. But I watched every episode. I was watching for Sarah, see what she was gonna pop out. When we figured it out, no spoilers for people who may watch it while it's still available to be watched.
Now, what I didn't know, what I had to look up, is she actually did some voiceover work for Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Hmm.
Who?
She was Sarah. She was
Yeah,
Tila.
she was Tila. She was Tila. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
And she was in this.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
She's done a lot of voice work. She was in this movie with these, not Toy Story, but it's a version of that, but it's more adult. It's called Toy Soldiers. Yeah,
Oh.
Toy Soldiers.
Was that the movie?
Yeah, it was a movie. She played the Barbie, a voice of the Barbie.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That one's a fever dream.
I love Toy Soldiers. I watched that probably a year or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if I seen that. I probably have, but
It's an oldie but goodie.
Look, I'm still kind of upset with Paramount Plus because they canceled Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. So I haven't really been down with much of the stuff they've been their original content anyway. So whatever.
Oh, that was a series? I thought that was just a movie.
It was a series.
It was a series, and it was a damn good
Oh,
series,
okay.
and it had really good music, and I think it had a really good following. And they
Was it a
canceled it.
musical?
Like I think
It
it was a musical show.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
so it was like a prequel to Grease.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, 'cause
And
Rizzo's young in this.
yeah, so like it has like a young Rizzo, but like they're not the big part of it. It's like you see like glimpses of them as younger before they're in high school,
Yeah.
before they're Pink Ladies. But I really enjoyed that show, but they canceled it, even though that one got like nominated for an award. So, but whatever.
You know, I like. I thought I would love this character from Dollhouse, but I like this character. I guess she's the overseer. She's in charge. I want to love her.
She's in charge.
Yeah, you know how you create those type of characters, but you put so much of those archetypes
girl.
on character where it's so unbelievable. Like this is a person, like from her hair, how she dressed, how she walked. Like, okay, we get it. You're a bad bitch in charge. You're Miranda Priest.
She has one sport.
DeWitt. That's who it was. DeWitt.
Yeah, DeWitt.
Hated that season 2 haircut, but other than
but so
she gets shot in one scene. She's again, guns don't matter. She gets shot in the scene. She's like, just finish this, finish the scene, and then she goes outside.
So did Mr. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so before we get into those characters, though, I want us to go like one more commercial break because I do want to talk about some of those characters that stood out to us, if any at all, for some of y'all that were just kind of whatever about the show. To mom,
what? I'm here.
We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
In season 3, if it is found out that one of the liars is the new big bad, who should it be?
That she's involved with like the killing?
She is the killer.
Oh, does Karen count?
No, it's the 5, the original 5.
She's an honorary liar though,
so is Jen, but I didn't put her in it.
She is not a
You know what? I'm gonna go with Imogen. Because I don't know what these pills that she is doing to her psyche. And she could easily be almost kind of like a malignant and doing that stuff.
All right, that was a snippet from our summer special, Scream Kings of Pretty Little Summer, which we reviewed, Taman and the Scream Kings reviewed each episode of Pretty Little Liars Summer School, which is the 2nd season of Original Sin. And that was a fun little summer special to do.
It was super fun. Ricky came and hung out with us a couple of episodes.
Yes, I was on because I had to get involved. I had to, because I was invested as well, and I wanted to see my piece. And that summer special is on their YouTube channels for Scream Kings. If you look it up on YouTube, you should find it. All the episodes are there. They just did last week. They just did the season overview. They've done all 8 episodes. And a special like end of season episode, even a special episode about reviewing the first season, and it was a good time. So if you had a chance to watch that show this summer, because that should be on HBO Max right now, that's completed for the season, you should definitely go check out that, and then come back and watch Scream Kings: A Pretty Little Summer special.
That part.
Yes. So I had this down written as like your favorite character, if you connected to any of the characters at all. Were you like rooting for anybody in this show at all?
I was.
Who are you rooting for?
Raina Russell.
Who's that?
She was the Beyonce knockoff for that episode where
you know what?
I was waiting for something ludicrous to come out of Jamal's mouth.
That sounds so funny.
The bodyguard episode where she had to stop. It was season 1. It was like episode. Yeah. It was an early.
And then Echo was
like episode 3 or 4.
I lived for Elijah to do a backup figure.
Okay.
You could do backup. I was like, yes, for your oohs and ahs back there.
Listen, yeah.
Did you have a recurring character you like?
It's mad.
The only person I really related to was Boyd. For the simple fact that I guess I kind of likened it to what I do. He had to be cleanup man. He'd be like, okay, what's she getting into today? How we need to be there. And he was just so intelligent and smart and just smooth. This was still in first season. I can't remember which episode. It might have been. He was with an officer who was killed, and he was just like, hey, we got people coming. He just switched into that mode to kind of throw him off for lost directions and all that good stuff. But he really had to pretend like this some effed up stuff, but I got to go with it and treat like a new person every time I deal with them. So I would have to say Boyd, because he was the unsung hero who just, he had to do what he had to do. And
did you finish the show, sir?
Hero.
Did you finish the show, sir?
A hero?
Yes.
A hero?
Okay, because that's the biggest plot twist for me for the entire series.
It was you all along.
I mean,
all along.
As I told y'all when I met y'all, I always root for the villain. That shouldn't be a shocker. So I'm like,
but a hero?
I like it actually. Well, he had the persona of the hero. I guess you could say.
Yes,
okay.
I would be like, yes.
I mean,
hero.
This was before I knew he was going to do that, what he did. But I'm like, okay, I feel his pain. He got to do all this and all that. But I think when, he was revealed to be who he was, it was poetic justice, I guess you could say.
I was over it. I was so blown. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? For real? Seriously?
The whole time.
I was like, for what? What was the
Cardi.
But
did y'all suspect him at all before he was revealed to be who he was? I didn't.
There was no reason. And even though that was a solid plot twist because you didn't expect it, but it's like you really could not have been planning this all along. You just made this up.
That kind of hurt my heart. That hurt my heart because you could clearly see the that fatherly bond that he was becoming attached to Echo, but then once you get to the plot twist and you see that he's been running things all along, it's super creepy. So that hurt my heart right there. I did not like that.
So it just didn't make sense for him to be running things all along. That's
he's not in Epitaph 1, which apparently is like, oh yeah, because of course he wouldn't be. He wasn't like everyone else is like some kind of freedom fighter now, and he's not. Of course, he's not going to be there.
He was blown up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously. So that's why he's not. That's why he's not in that.
And Echo's famous chase scene out of the building was just like when it was blowing up. I was like, God, this is so
Okay.
It's so
You did not make it out that building, girl. Hang it up.
You didn't make it, sis. You did it. You're no Slayer.
Don't go ahead on Echo.
Wow.
Echo could have been implanted with Slayer personality.
You know what? You're right,
He
because
is a
Shaggy
Slayer.
did say
He
you
is
can
a
give
Slayer.
super abilities. And I would have been like, let's test that out. Let's test these super abilities out.
Now, if you were to implant her with a Slayer personality, which one would it be? Which Slayer?
Which personality?
Which Slayer personality would you implant her with? We only got like
the
4 to
original.
really know.
The first one.
Not
first.
that
That was
make
my
any
answer.
sense.
The first Slayer. The first Slayer.
Kendra, the vampire.
Kendra, the vampire Slayer. Yes.
I would have
That's
loved
her.
to play Kendra. That would have been, we're gonna
Nope.
That's blackface, and I'm not here.
No, I'm
That
not
Kendra
co-signing that at all.
lost.
That means you can't pick Kendra. You can't pick the first one.
Why?
The
Why
first
you
is
can't pick
black.
The first one?
The first is black.
I mean, but she not gonna be the first. Like, she just has the personality of the first one.
And all that personality is
right, which is the problem within itself. Okay, we're not going to talk about that. That's a whole nother.
She's gonna slay. Like,
oh wait, what about the mother, the black mother on the train that Spike got the jacket from? Not Wesley.
Richard Wood's mom.
Wood,
Nikki
yeah.
Wood.
Yeah, Nikki Wood.
You know
I like
what?
that.
She could have been.
Buffy.
Yeah. Buffy. That'd be something else.
I mean, they was at one bodies.
It's gonna be fake. It's gonna be herself.
She's gonna be herself, which is Echo.
Yeah.
Okay, the nurse, but not actually the nurse with the scarred up face that she decided not to get.
That's who she was my girl in the beginning until she flipped. When she flipped, I got annoyed.
When she shot that bitch in the head, I was like, yes, ma'am.
I was mad.
Saunders, who's actually Whiskey, played by Amy Ackers. We know her from we know her as Freddie from Angel.
Yep.
Love her. That one right there too was kind of a shock to me. Some of the sleeper agents were what got me. I like those. I like the sleeper agents. So that was Whiskey, who was Dr. Claire Saunders,
and Madeline.
Which I'm mad for Whiskey because of
November. Was that her?
Yeah,
it was November.
It's November.
Yeah, November. Melly. That was her agent name. Melly. And I feel bad for Whiskey because she was like the top agent besides Alpha before we got Echo, and then because of the stuff with Alpha, they implant her with someone else's memories, and she's having to use them long term. I think that's one of the things that really bothered, like the fact that you have to have you're implanted with someone's memories long term like that.
Ooh.
But you become them. That's who you think you are.
But then when the time comes where they remove that implant out, and
they were never gonna remove her. She was never getting out. She was the resident doctor. That was
just like Priya, who almost got sold off into slavery, sex slavery. See, they have so many elements that they can really are so important to talk about in this fantasy setting. That could have been great, but that was a good episode that she almost got sent off, and I was like,
so that one right there. So her agent name was Sierra. Her original name is Priya, and we can talk about that a little bit more when it comes to consent and how she became an active adult in the first place. And what she had to continue to do as a doll was crazy and very heartbreaking for me.
Yeah. I'll give them points for this. I'll give them points for not just sticking with Elijah Dushku the entire show, but giving little room for the other characters' storylines to shine. The love story with Sierra would have been a great focal point for and they did great with it. Yeah, they did great with that. But when Victor became Shaggy, I was just like, bruh, You are so good.
He did so good.
That guy's really good.
He's really good.
That
I
guy's
was
really
like,
good.
you guys are better as dolls than you are playing your actual characters because your actual characters are flat. But I guess that's because they are new brain.
As in, like their actual characters, or their active doll selves.
No, the dolls, when they were dolls, they were great. Like when they would take on personalities, even when they were just walking docile around the building, that was great. But when they was no longer dolls, I was
became their actual selves. Damn.
Yeah, I wasn't interested in them anymore. They weren't interesting. The acting wasn't good to me. But when he turned into Shaggy, I was like, bruh, you are nailing this. And where have you been? Why are you not on my screen more often?
Right.
Correct.
Question.
Correct.
Yeah, where has he been?
So his name is Enver Jokaj. I don't know. Like
I really hated his very first appearance because he's that Russian informant at the beginning. I was like, I hate this, but everything else he did in that show, I really love.
So we see him again in he was in Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't even watch that for real.
He was Daniel Souza in Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's it?
Oh, okay. Now I think I do remember him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Another show called Invasion.
With Halle Berry? Wait, hold on.
No.
Yeah, let me just pull
So now I gotta look. So now
on Apple TV.
Oh, work, sir. Okay.
He's had him a job. Don't play him.
I'm not, but I want to see more.
He's in Resident Alien.
Where's he in Resident Alien?
See now, yeah, he was
Joseph Rayner.
Daniel Sosa, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes, that's why you look there. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, he's Joseph Rayner.
Back on the screen, Marvel, find him, cast him for something. He got the look, he got the skill. Let's do it. Get it.
He was in Taman. He was in Witches of East End for 4 episodes.
You know what?
Witches of East End.
Was he dating one? He had to be dating one of the sisters.
Had to. I
he was in 4 episodes. That's all I see.
Yeah, they hired him as a doll. He went in there and fulfilled
Oh yeah, he was dating Wendy. That makes sense.
So I have a question regarding that, because like I had a lot of issues with like I really liked a lot of the performances, but the like them as dolls is so bland, and even like I thought the Victor Sierra like little cute like almost like schoolyard romance kind of thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. That's really sweet. I like that. But for the most part, it's like, okay, you're here and it's largely inconsequential. What you're like, everything that happens in the facility behind me is like, regarding the dolls, like, oh, that doesn't matter. And then they become these other characters, but that isn't who they are. So I'm like, okay, like I could like this character that he is, but he's going to be this for like an episode and then never again. And then it's like, I was like, I can't really get attached to them. Yeah. I did, however, like seeing Alan Tudyk. Like I said, Resident Alien, we were watching that, and he's like, he's you know, I'm guessing 50s maybe. I don't know. I'm not. Hey, Alan Tudyk. I'm not
like sci-fi royalty.
He's a baby in this show. In Dollhouse, he has like perfect, beautiful skin. He's like he's like that frumpy dude in that poncho thing he's wearing, and they're like, oh, you got to put on this guy's, you know, this doll's clothes, and then all of a sudden he's like, yes, I am. I was like, what the heck? Like that guy's like, he's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
so
I think his last show before that was
Firefly. Was it Firefly? Which I loved.
Real quick. So you said Marvel. You're gonna gag at this. He was an extra in the Avengers.
I saw that. Well, I guess he made it there.
Tell me
he's not big enough.
No, you know what that means? If you're in the, like, you know how comic books work, man. You like working at some like taco stand one day and a meteor lands on you, or like Captain America brushes against you, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've got superpowers now.
Yeah, he was a young cop. He was a young cop in the Avengers. That's the title, young cop.
Number 1.
No, oh, hey, that's the
young cop number 1.
That's the top of that call sheet right there.
Right.
That's it.
I like that dude.
Where there are no more cops.
Can we mention how great Alpha was as a villain in season 1?
Yes.
He was, but I wish they would have dialed up on him sooner, because they really didn't dial up on him till towards the end, and you didn't really understand what this whole fear was all about until you actually get to meet him and they start talking about him more.
Yeah, I think if they
think too, because
built up on him a little bit sooner, that would have been better.
Or if they just would have started off with like letting us see exactly like when it got to that flashback in some way, like bringing that flashback in sooner when people were talking about all the drama he caused when he left out, and they were already showing clips of the bodies and stuff. But I'm like, okay, but why did he do this? What happened? And you don't find that out until like the last 2-3 episodes of the season.
And that's what I mean.
It's kind of like, and I think I'm not completely sure if when they started that season, he was intended to be a villain. It was like, okay, let's switch it up midway through, and now he's Alpha. Because, like I said, I consider myself a pretty smart guy. I had no, until it just really started coming in, I would not have pieced them together. So that kind of makes me think, was it he really meant to be that person, or did the writing change in midway through?
That's what I mean when they needed a better showrunner, because there's no way that Alpha should have came in towards the end of the season. Even if we didn't see his face, which I love that idea, but introduce him throughout the season. Think about Klaus on the Vampire Diaries. We did not see Klaus until seasons later, where they were hinting at this big bad wolf over and over and over, and we finally we saw him in another body, multiple bodies. Then we got to meet him. This show can lean into body jumping easily. They sort of do it a little bit, but it would have been great for them to sort of introduce this pit bull of Alpha who we need to be scared of. And look what he did to Homegirl's mug, chopped her up. So now we be scared of him. Maybe he needs to do some other things, mess up some of the missions, kill somebody else, anything to say he is still out there. But then you just pop and say, oh, it's been Alpha all along with Homeboy, which I thought that was good. He was working with Homeboy to try to take him down, but he got played again.
I think that because I think one of the issues with like the whoever was it Billy Berserker? So like, oh, if you miss something, like there are little allusions to Alpha doing things, but they're like said almost in passing, and they're like some of them are really obtuse, like, oh, this weird thing happened, blah blah blah, and it was like threat, but also like if you like, oh, I took a sip of my soda, I missed that line, you're gonna miss whatever that was. It was so brief. I kind of like Alan Tudyk are like crazy funny. I mean, he's Hey and Moana. Come on, man. Like he like really cool character actor, and like he pulled off like, oh, I'm this nerdy nothing dude, and then does this 180
scary.
Just in that I really did like that moment where like he shows up competent for like a quarter of a second on the screen, and then slashes Victor's face, and like, oh no! And I'm sure that probably was like originally a cut to commercial at that point in time. And sorry, I went all blurry. I actually like that moment. I don't. I mean, I would have liked to have more. It is one of those things like I don't like when shows go, oh, there's this threat, and then 10 seconds later they're like, oh, that's what it was. They did. I think they fed in little like crumbs, but not enough crumbs as the show went on, and it was fairly abrupt that when you're like, oh, here's Alpha episode 11, all of Alpha episode 11, that's it, we're done.
Yeah,
I wish it would have had like a full season and given more time to build some of those moments with Alpha. I think I go back to the fact that like the first season, the seasons were only 13 episodes, and they didn't have episodes to waste, and they wasted some of them.
And yes, they definitely did waste quite a few of them, and it makes it hard to know if now when you get to the second season and you see it was Mr. Man all along, Langley all along, So was it him that was sabotaging the things? Was it him that sent Melly to give the message to the detective, or was it Alpha? Now you have those questions of who was it, and what, or was all of this you're doing? Like, did you strategically coordinate Alpha to do all of this?
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
And you don't get enough of that to go one way or the other, and I guess that's kind of a cool thing about it. But then it's also an annoying thing because it's like I want a definite answer of, was it you that sent the message to set up the FBI agent to begin with? Is that how we got here? Is it you that allowed Alpha to get into this building? Is it you that was actually sabotaging the chair when things were going on? Like, let's get into that. I want to like unpack all of that since you tell me what you did. Have your villain confession.
Yeah, you need a
villain law. Yes.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up soon, but I wanted to briefly talk about well, it kind of leads into everything we've been talking about and how you guys been feeling about the storylines, but like there was a lot of things in the end that kind of were stacking up against the show for it to even be like a successful show. So short seasons, the time slot of death, it was a Friday night at 9 p.m. Like, I think even by that point, TGIF wasn't even a thing. Right?
No, TGIF was over.
TGIF was over. Like, no one was watching Boy Meets World on ABC anymore. They're watching on Disney by that point.
Absolutely. They set them up for failure.
Yes. So I think overall, the show had the things stacked against them, and the things that we talked about with the writing, the pacing, the world building definitely worked against them, and then the time slot did not help. So I was looking it up, season 1, like I said, ratings were crap, mixed reviews, but they weren't going to renew it for a second season. But I think because of the following that Joss Whedon had at the time, and probably some leftover resentment from Firefly, gave it a chance to be renewed for a second season. So I think that's probably why it was renewed for a second season. But it was canceled probably halfway through them filming the second season, and it was like it literally only lasted a year. And so question, season 1 versus season 2, both short seasons, which one was better?
My vote's for season 2.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with season 2 because that's when she really got like once she started being able to access those personalities, it changed the game for me. It made it more urgent and serious. Like, she can tap into these at any given moment. Like,
which should have been the focal of her character arc in the story. Actually, that's what makes her different. That she could toggle between the different personalities that uploaded to her. That should have been episode 1.
And accessing the different skills, all that was fire.
Yeah. And honestly, I think probably because season 2, you really have an actual like overall mission, a goal, to some kind of end game to it that season 1 didn't really have.
Yeah. Well, you can see there's a ticking clock with the like, oh, we have this doll senator that we're going to move into the president, and there's this organization in the back that's got all these, we're building this tech that's going to do this horrible, awful thing. And you do know, like with the epitaphs, you're like, oh, this is going to be a horrible, awful thing that happens in 10 years from in 2019, when all this bad stuff happens. I think episode 2 is like, it does have like a lot more, like you said, a lot more urgency just in general. Every single episode is like, oh, there's actual time stakes here.
Yeah. All right, so we're about to we're going to wrap things up. Oh, go ahead, Keel. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I'm gonna disagree with y'all and stick with the first one, I guess, because For me, I was going on this adventure trying to put the pieces together. But season 2, yes, they had more urgency to get things in, but it's starting to get a tiny bit predictable.
Okay.
I can't agree with that. I don't think so, because I never expected them to label the original Caroline as a terrorist, or for her to be involved the way she was and to have entered the agreement the way she did, because you see that first video of the FBI agent being obsessed with her in season 1, and you're like, oh, okay, so this like his college sweetheart. I still don't understand how you got obsessed with her. Like, where did you come from? And why do you care about her so much? I don't get it. But when you see that, and then you actually get to find out who Caroline was and how she got into it, I didn't expect none of that. I didn't expect her to go to the attic with the rest of them. I didn't expect the attic to be a place where they just push you through fear simulations until you either die or just to study you. I didn't expect nothing that happened in season 2, to be honest.
Yeah.
Season 1.
I think so. The way I look at it is the Shrek problem, where Shrek 4 is the best Shrek movie, but only because Shrek 1 and 2 exist.
What a thing to say!
I don't know what to say to that.
It's Shrek 4 is brilliant, and Shrek 1, but only because it has like the history of Shrek 1 and 2. So it's like, oh, season 2 is good, but only because it sits on the shoulders of season 1.
Oh, I still think it's stronger. It has the setup of season 1, but honestly, if we took season 1 first 2 episodes and then started with the next part of season 2, we would have been fine. All we needed was the pilot of season 1, and we can go into season 2. Besides those different characters, and we would have missed some really good scenes when Millie turned off to became a sleeper agent over the phone call. That was great. That was good work. That was really good. I didn't see that happening, but I still think season 2 overall presented an actual story and not just many episodes that should be about character development and world building, but we're really just having these missions like Charlie's Angels that goes nowhere.
More purpose in season 2. It was more purpose for sure.
And I did some research. Victor, I jokingly said, was he on that show with Holly Berry when we was talking about Invasion? He actually was on Extant. That's what I was thinking about. He actually was on that show with Holly Berry that I mentioned. He's everywhere. Jeez.
But nowhere. That's crazy.
Nowhere.
For you everywhere but nowhere, because they're not giving you your shine. They're not giving you your shine.
Yes, you're supposed to be Wolverine.
Would you either become a doll for 5 years and get that millions of dollars, or would you
just yes?
Yes.
No. I was just go ahead.
Or would you actually want to have a doll?
Okay. Can I do both? Because I think having a doll would solve so many issues, especially if I can like do my prescription of things that I want. I think that's a great Black Mirror episode. Actually, this show is probably just one episode of Black Mirror. That's all we needed this show for. But yes, that was a good ass question.
You know what? Mine's really dumb. I don't trust anyone to be like, oh, you have 5 years and you're not gonna be able to account for it. But I would get a doll, but it'd be like, I have a lot of board games I haven't played that I want to play. I have to call my student loan people. I don't want to be on the phone for 3 hours.
So you would use a doll as an assistant. Got it.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I would get a hacker doll and like have them like hack Sally Mae and student loans and have them taken care of.
I'm gonna borrow yours.
So you have a burner doll.
I like that. I was gonna be on the phone with them.
So y'all all go pretend like that's all these dolls will be doing, huh?
No. Yes. My doll would be.
I mean, like maybe I need somebody to sit in my house a bit, but like I'm not doing anything else with no doll. Like
you don't need to know. You know how many phone calls I have to make that I don't want to make. I need like 2 or 3. I need some stats.
2 or 3 sounds really hot. I get it. Yeah, I see that being really hot. Yeah.
Okay, so the thing that I wanted to touch on briefly, and it kind of sucks to kind of be like towards the end of the episode, but like the idea of talking about consent And particularly that first season and those first few episodes where it's like I low-key felt the ickiest ever. And then keeping in mind of the things we've heard about Joss Whedon allegedly. It made me feel so uncomfortable rewatching the show like 10 years later, basically.
There's a lot of creepy breadcrumbs. There's a lot of like weird savior stuff and like yeah.
And it has me reconsidering, because I think one of the things with Buffy is that Buffy has been, and through Buffy, Joss Whedon has kind of been held as like some kind of feminist supporter, almost like an icon.
Yeah.
And even looking back at the things with Buffy, it's not really there. It's really not. It's not giving like we want it to. It's not giving it. It's not giving like womanist. It's not giving intersectional. It's giving very surface level. And then add in the consent stuff with Dollhouse, it makes you feel even ickier from there. So like I wanted to touch upon that. Like that was something I completely didn't think about when I decided to rewatch it. But watch especially those first like 4 or 5 episodes where it was very clear what a lot of those clients were doing with the dolls. It was like, why did we have this on the show, on a TV show? Why was this on the air like that?
I mean, I get the idea, like this purist idea, like, oh, we're not going to use. Yes, if those were the dolls that were available, you're definitely smashing. That's the end of the question.
I mean, but like that's they chose them for the most part for that. Like they chose like generally like attractive people.
They handpicked them, yeah.
To be active
and offered them millions of dollars for 5 years of their life.
Yep, I'm going to offer you this career to be a singer, and this is what you have to do to get that career. So
and you have no knowledge, and you have no knowledge of what happened to you during those times.
Not a drug,
right? Like you won't have any clue. So hopefully, you won't run into anybody that had that.
That's what I was thinking. Like, how you go retire from this? Like, you in the grocery store 5 years later, and this dude walking like, "Hey, didn't we used to smash? And what? You an assassin? What's going on here?"
I got this weird drawer full
I'm
of
sorry,
what?
Yeah. I have a family, sir. I have a family.
Thank you. My mom's right here. What do you mean?
What are you doing? Don't roll up on me talking about what I would have done. Now, see, that concept would have been great for a future season.
How creepy to be like if you don't know, but you know that there's this gap of time and some like rando dudes like staring at you in the grocery store. You're like, what is that about? I don't like that.
And that's why as much as I would want to do it, I probably couldn't do it. Because I can't remember 5 years of my life. Granted, you don't remember 5 years of your life as a child, but it's different.
But you in LA
now I have a gap of time.
You're not getting any shenanigans.
Or at a different dollhouse, wherever. Abu Dhabi.
I love that. Yeah.
You could be at any dollhouse.
I mean, you're in a dollhouse in Atlanta.
Oh, baby.
I would have
it. Will be fire. It will be fire.
Yeah, they have establishments in Atlanta called the Dollhouse.
They do. And they probably have the same concept in Atlanta. Surprise, welcome
in your face.
Yikes.
And I don't know how much bleach and cleaning they do, but to know that whatever's like, I don't know what happened to my body during this time period. I have this phobia about like, even with certain meds that may be prescribed to you about how they alter your brain chemistry. No, I don't want to do anything like that. So imagine like they're not just altering your brain, they're rewriting who you are.
Look, I don't even like sleeping pills like that.
No, don't play. I don't want to play like that at all.
Yeah, I'd rather not. I would have one if one was available, but I don't think I could.
Yeah. If the price was right,
sleeping in that.
You know the price was not right because the price was astronomical.
Yeah.
Well, what is it? Okay, tell me what needs to happen, and I don't have to have them for long. This can literally.
Stop. Wait. So,
now if y'all into good trashy shows or movies, I have become. Last year, I have become a Tubi fan. If you got Tubi, I would implore you to watch this show movie, Tiffany the Doll. It would be the R/X-rated version of this because that doll in Tubi, and it's based out of Atlanta, does all of this stuff.
Yes, God.
Stop.
That's a Twitter thing. I think I follow.
Along those lines, I think that so there's a podcast I listened to 100 years ago called Seventh Son by J.C. Hutchins, which is the president gets assassinated by this little kid, and then you find out that like these people get recruited, and they like after they look at each other, they're like, oh, we all have the same history, like same kind of implanted memories. They're all clones of the same person. And the reason they're brought together is because the person that committed the assassination is their alpha. Actually, they call him John Alpha. Is their alpha? Is the one that they're cloned from? And it's like a 3-book series. I thought it was really excellent. Seventh Son.
Well, okay, so it is time for us to wrap up. I want to thank you guys for indulging in my rewatch of Dollhouse. I know that it wasn't necessarily the most riveting of things, but I think it was a fun rewatch, especially if you haven't seen it in a while. So I want you guys to give your final thoughts and where people can find you. Let's start with Lucio.
What if it was like this but better? You can find me at Lucio Man or at LucioMan79 on everything. If I'm not there, then I might be there.
My final thoughts on the Dollhouse. I definitely watched just for this show, and I committed to watching for the show. If in real life would I watched it, probably the first episode, no, but hey, that's what these things are about. But I appreciate you introducing another layer of things that I may not have looked of or heard of. So that's what I'm excited to take this journey with you guys to learn more stuff and just have that exposure. But you can find me on anything, AK the Great One. That's me.
And I appreciate you, Akil, for at least trying it out. Cadence.
So crazy. Can you still hear me? Because my AirPods decided they wanted to go out.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello. Okay, good. Oh, one of them is up. Hello. Oh, this one's still up. Okay, only one is down. Amen. Final thoughts on the show. Great concept. Really, really solid episodes here and there. Definitely could have used a little bit more care in the approach, a little bit more development, and just really developing those nuances more than what they were. Overall, I would probably say I give it like a C. If I had to grade it, I give it like a C. Like it's good to watch in leisure, but you don't need to run to watch it. But it's an interesting watch if you're looking for something different. You can find me on Twitter, Cadence Third World, and on Facebook you can find me Cadence Kane. So that's where you can find me at. So add me.
Someone.
I was obligated to watch this in its first run because I am a fan. I am a fan of Joss Whedon and anything to do with the movie. So I had to watch this. And so I remember the first one I watched, I was like, yeah, whatever. I can't do this. But watching it now, it was so interesting, some of the storylines and how they try to develop certain things. And it's a masterclass in things not to do for a TV show to be successful. I will give it a 2 out of 5. I think if the right people touched it, it could be a cool concept to be remade in today's time, and to really, it feel like it could be maybe one of those like Orphan Black UK kind of shows. I think it needs, it lends itself to diversity, which we all love to see. I think if we brought it back now, it would be really cool to see how Echo is running this whole organization. Oh yeah, we're still drinking. I thought it was fun to watch. I don't have to watch it again. I won't buy the DVDs. Elijah Dushku looks the same as she does now.
Where can we find you, Tamon?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, streaming Dead by Daylight and other survival horror games. You can find me on X at Tamon Kane. You can find me on Scream Kings. We're getting ready for season 3. As Ricky said, we just finished a pretty little summer, and you can catch me here on Geeking Out, talking about all the fun things that we like to geek out about. And Ricky.
All right, so this show is one of those things where I wouldn't necessarily call it a cult classic. I think it's one of those shows that you got to at least watch once.
Mm-hmm.
I think it had potential. Mm-hmm. I think if you enjoy Joss Whedon, you will, based off of that, you will give it a try. If you enjoy Elijah Dushku, based off of that, most people will give it a try. And I think there's a lot of things that were stacked against it, whether that was the spanning out of the plot and the overall storyline, to the time slot that it aired, to the fact that it was on Fox, because I promise you, the only shows that I've seen that are supernatural that have lasted that long on Fox is Fringe.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I want to talk about that one. I got to rewatch that one. Things like that. So, like, I think it had a lot of things stacked against it. But
X-Files.
You know what? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
X-Files. But I don't think anything else can really touch X-Files.
Mm.
Like, nothing can really touch X-Files. And I think that's an anomaly for Fox. Because we know how, like, they've done it. And don't get me started on Sleepy Hollow. But I digress.
Oh, yeah. We love Sleepy Hollow.
Look, I digress. I enjoyed this rewatch. I kind of came on a whim, and I had to make these guys watch it with me, because why the hell not?
Right?
If I gotta watch, y'all can watch it with me too, and we'll be okay. But you can find me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram at Ricky Z, and that's Ricky with the EY Z_social. I'm also on TikTok and all those other things, and Twitch. But you can find Geeking Out. Make sure you like and subscribe and click the notification button, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. No, we're on Twitter. No, it's our production agency, Wonelli Media. You can find us on WNM. So that's Wonelli Media, WNM Geeking Out, on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok as well. Thank you guys for joining us. For those of us that watched Billy Berserker, buddy, I'm so glad to see your Twitch icon back here to watch us. Like, we miss you, and I've missed being able to be on here and be in front of the camera and not behind the computer screen producing. But this has been a really fun first episode back with season 4, and thank you to Lucio and Akil and Cadence for joining the Geeking Out family and for having a great episode and indulging in my random shows that I love to watch. So with that ado, we will see you guys next Monday. Geeking Out will be every Monday at 8:15 on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure you like and share, and if you have a topic that you actually like, share it with us. We might be into it ourselves. One thing I'm really excited about this season is that we have our new panelists are into things that are completely different than what we've been into before. Like Akil said, he's into WWE. We have a lot more anime. and a lot more sci-fi, and maybe going deeper into Marvel as we've kind of get over this Marvel fatigue that we've gone through this last year and a half. But I'm excited for what we're going to do with season 4. So with that said, good night, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Good night.